Hello guys, welcome back to another episode of So Alli. It's me again, back in your ears, on my couch from home. And I'm trying this one without headphones today because I thought it'd be kind of fun to switch it up. Now, I know you all tuned in last week to part 1 of this little 2-part series called 20 Things I Have Learned in My 20s. So last week I ran through my first 10 and this week we're going to run through my next 10. Now, because you know the drill with these episodes, we don't need to fuck around too much with an intro or anything. We can basically get straight into it. Now, I'm not perfect. I am far from it, but I am just here to help and share some advice and be your new best friend because my heart is so full seeing so many comments on my Spotify, on my Apple Podcasts, on my Instagram about how they love listening to my podcast because I feel like a friend. And that is literally my goal with this podcast. I want to feel like your best friend through the screen, through your headphones. But it's paying off so far, guys. So thank you so much for tuning in and listening. So join me for another cheeky sit-down chat to run through some more lessons that I have learned in my 20s. Well, at least tried to learn. So let's get into it. We're jumping straight to number 11. And number 11 is hurt people hurt people. Now, I have learned this lesson definitely one too many times, but I believe that I have also hurt people when I've been in a really bad and emotional place too. So I've learned this lesson by being on both sides of it. When someone lashes out and handles a situation in a non-ideal way, I definitely think it says a lot more about their pain than your worth, and you have to remind yourself that. That's why when you're hurt by someone, no matter the extent, you cannot blame yourself or let it make you question your worth. I think it's super easy to internalize someone else's bad behavior, whether it's just a rude stranger on the street or if it's someone ghosting you or a boss snapping at you. You always have to think twice and remind yourself that most of the time it's not you and it's not about you. And coming to terms with that and realizing that can be life-changing. But like I said before, we've all been the hurt person too, right? Like it could be the emotional overreaction or the dramatic 4-paragraph text because you're upset, or something as simple as the Instagram story like at 3 a.m. that absolutely didn't need to happen, or Instagram story reply. Definitely guilty of that one. And circling back to the moral of this lesson, hurt people because I have definitely been in flings or relationships that I know absolutely ended because either one of us were hurt or both of us were hurting, and you end up taking it out on each other. There was a quote I liked about this one, and it's, "You can't control who hurts you, but you can control whether you pass it on." Healing is how you stop that cycle. Lesson number 12. The next one is start saving your money ASAP, because I think in your 20s, it's definitely when you need to start setting up a foundation for your future. Now, I am no pro with this one at all. Like, I have had to learn this one the hard way many, many times. I have had healthy amounts of money in my 20s. I've also been completely broke in my 20s, but I think that's super relatable and most of us go through this at this age. What I think is that future you will definitely thank current you for every dollar that you didn't spend on Uber Eats, because that's just something I am also extremely guilty of. You don't have to be rich to be smart with money. You just have to start. So now my new motto is the best time to start saving was yesterday, and the second best time to start saving is today. Because honestly, no one fucking prepares you for how expensive being an adult is. Like, we're talking rent, bills, mortgages, random subscriptions that you probably completely forgot you had, or those random grocery bills that end up being $200 and you end up with absolutely nothing. But saving money doesn't have to be, cutting all the little joys out of your life and all the nice things that you enjoy doing. It's just about thinking and being smarter now about what your future self is going to need and what your future self will care about. Because in my 20s, I've had so many goddamn wake-up calls with this, like you go and have a huge night out with your friends and you have that anxiety that you don't want to open your bank account the next day to see how much money you spent on a night out. Like, I'm sick of feeling that. We have to start now in our 20s, I'm almost 30, to really set up our foundations for our future and future families. So to sum up this lesson, ask the questions, make the appointments, learn what you can about budgeting and planning and all the above so that you can give your future self the best chance. Lesson number 13, we are absolutely powering through these. Time is our most precious resource because, oh my God, the older you get, the faster time goes by. And this is totally out of our control. Coming off the back of the last lesson, you can always make more money, but you cannot make more time. God, I definitely find in your 20s, like some days can feel so long, but the years, they fucking fly by. They just disappear. It's like a second ago, I felt like I just had my 21st birthday and now I'm 27. Like the years just start getting faster and faster. And anyone I talk to agrees with this. I talk to my mum, my nana. It's like each decade slowly feels faster and faster and faster, which is why we have to be as present as we can in life and make the most of every moment and every single day. Like, how the fuck is it almost Christmas? I feel like we just had Christmas last year. I don't know where 2025 went, and I don't know if anyone else feels the same, but man, it just flew by. I for sure spent the first half of my 20s thinking I had all the time in the world, but then I blinked and I'm 27 and I know I'm going to blink again and I'll be 30. Like, how? How is this happening? So a lesson I've learned out of this one is don't fall into the trap of waiting for the perfect moment, because spoiler alert, the perfect moment doesn't exist. You've got to create them. Protecting your time and the time you have on this earth is a major form of self-respect, because who and what you give your time to can completely change and shape your whole life. So use your time wisely and don't waste it, because I guarantee you definitely don't want to wake up one day and realize I spent majority of my 20s doom scrolling on the couch and not going after my dreams and not going after my life. So that's number 13. Moving on to lesson number 14 of the 20 things I've learned in my 20s. I am a big advocate for this one. So it is, your 20s are for trying stuff. Take the risks, make the mistakes, even if it's really fucking messy. You've got to remember that you're not supposed to have it all figured out. I think you've got to figure it out as you go, because you'll never know if something's actually for you until you try it. So you've got to take the risks and make the mistakes. From 20 to 30 is absolutely the decade for just trying shit and doing the shit that plays on your mind. Because I don't want to wake up, and I don't think anyone wants to wake up in 10, 20, 30 years from now and think, damn, I should have done that. I should have tried that. I should have given that a go. You don't want to wake up and feel like it's too late, because regret has to be the worst feeling in the world. I have done and tried a lot of shit, and I wouldn't change any of that or any experience for the world, because, you know, some things I try and I love, some things I try and I hate. Like I said before, you're never going to know unless you try. A quote that I always live by, and something I always tell my friends when someone gets too caught up in their head about something, or they might have a little regret or weren't sure if it was something they should have done or should have tried, I always say, never regret anything you wanted in the moment. And I just think that's what life is all about. I truly, truly, truly believe that your 20s are for experimenting. And that's with anything and everything. It could be with jobs, relationships, hookups, moving cities, moving countries, or even as something simple as changing your hairstyle. Your 20s are for experimenting, because some of my best stories, best memories and moments in my life, and some of my biggest lessons came from moments that looked like probably pure fucking chaos at the time. If you didn't have at least one what the fuck was I thinking moment in your 20s, have you even lived? I don't know. I think that the collection of all the weird, random, wrong turns that you might take in your 20s often always lead to something unexpectedly right. So try shit. Go do shit, babes. Up next, we have number 15, and this one is start before you're ready. This should be the mantra of everyone's 20s. Start before you're ready, because you're never gonna feel ready. There's never a right moment, a right time. I know we touched on this one a little in the last episode, but this one is just so important and something that I have to remind myself of constantly. Try to remind yourself that ready is now. The right time is now. The right time is always now. And now that we're halfway through this episode, and before I keep carrying on, I just got to remind you guys, I am no professional here. All of these lessons that I've come up with are literally just conclusions and things that I've come to over many incredible and awful experiences during my 20s. But this lesson was something I majorly had to learn when it came to starting this podcast. I put off this podcast for so long because I always thought there would be a time that I felt ready and I was like, okay, everything's perfect. I've got all the right equipment. I've got the setup. I still don't. And I just had to hit play and fucking launch when I totally didn't feel ready, because if you never start, you never know what's going to happen. But now it's such an amazing feeling to reflect and know that we're, I think, 7 weeks in now, and I'm kicking myself for not starting it sooner. I'm like, why was I waiting? And why was I waiting for it to feel perfect when it's never really going to be? But I'm feeling like So Alli right now is perfectly imperfect, and that is so okay with me. Nothing in life ever gets accomplished without taking the initial risk. It's super cliche, but everyone says it, risk equals reward. So something that I always keep reminding myself of now is just start scared, start underprepared, start underqualified. Just start. Lesson number 16 is boundaries are essential. I always used to think that if I was putting boundaries in place, that boundaries are like walls, like these big fuck off walls that you just put up against relationships or work or anything like that. But what I've come to learn is boundaries aren't walls. They're just doors with locks that you can actually control. You absolutely teach people how to treat you by what you tolerate. It's so easy to be the yes man, saying yes to the plans, to favors, to people that completely drain your energy, right up until you realize that full burnout and full public crash out isn't a personality trait that anybody wants. Learning to put boundaries in place in my life has completely changed my life and been one of the best things I've ever done for myself. In my late 20s now, I'm a lot more at peace and a lot more calm than I've ever been. And that's all come from doing things for me and putting myself first. But the really exciting thing is that this is only going to get better with age. I know once I move into my 30s and 40s and 50s, I'm going to get much better at this and putting boundaries in place and prioritizing myself. But hey, we're all just out here learning one step at a time. Boundaries are so essential because they help you filter out all the wrong people and start to allow you to bring the right people into your life. The ones who respect your limits and respect your boundaries, they're the people you want around you. I'm definitely still working on this one because I feel like my toxic trait used to be just saying yes to everything and to everyone. But now I feel like my toxic trait is saying no and then like having to fucking over explain it. When what I'm learning is that you don't have to explain shit to anyone. You don't have to explain yourself at all, because at the end of the day, you're just protecting yourself and just prioritizing your needs. So that's number 16. Number 17. You will feel lost. I think in your 20s, you go through so many different phases of yourself and your personality and your life that it's so easy to just wake up one day and think, what the fuck am I doing with my life? I'm so lost. What do I want to do with my life? I know everyone feels this at least once in their 20s or multiple times, which for me, it's definitely been multiple times. But I think it's so important to take the pressure off of ourselves with this sort of thing and try our best to try and trust the timing of life and the timing of what life has in store for us, because everyone's timeline looks different. It's so easy to get in your head and think if you feel lost, that you're failing, like that means that you're failing, when really that's not the case. You're not failing, you're just learning and you're becoming who you're supposed to be. I've been through this multiple times. I felt so lost after my fatal neck injury, which I will do another whole podcast episode about, but after my neck injury in 2022, I was out of work for so long. I couldn't do anything that I loved, something as simple as getting up and going for a walk and going to get a coffee every morning. It was little things that were sort of stripped from me, and that really took a toll on my mental health. And I definitely found myself feeling incredibly lost during that whole period, the year that I was sort of in and out of the neck brace. And then the year that followed that, I found myself falling into a bit of a bad depression. And that was because I felt so lost and I felt like I'd lost myself in and amongst it all. And that was something that's taken me so long to work back up the courage and to get to the position I'm in today. But the most amazing part about all of this is that I know that I did it, and I know you guys can do it too. So if you're at home and you're feeling lost and sad and depressed and confused, you have to know that you can get through it, and there is the other side, and you will come out the other side, because anything is possible. And those heavy experiences and things that I went through absolutely have shaped me to who I am today, because I feel like I gained a lot of strength along the way. No one in life has it all figured out. No one has all their shit together, even though it might look like it sometimes on social media. You can't trust that. We all know that. But remember, babes, everyone's out here winging it. I think now you don't have to have a 5-year plan. You just need to have faith in your next step. Moving on to my next step is number 18. And I think this one is super important, and you definitely learn this one in age. But listening can be way more important than talking sometimes. Most people in life listen to just reply to the person rather than really trying to actually understand them and what they're saying first before you start processing a reply. Listening really is a major love language to me. It really says and comes across as, you matter enough for me to slow down and to be present with you and care about what you're telling me, But listening, I find, really is a hard one to practice in your 20s because when you're young, I think we're all very opinionated and we all have something to say at the table. You do tend to learn a lot about people in the quiet moments. But yeah, this is definitely one I have to actively remind myself to do because your girl can talk. I can talk and talk and talk. Like I could be at a table with my friends or at an event or anything like that. And sometimes I have to just bite my tongue because someone will be talking and then I'll think, oh, I have a story like that. Or I can jump in here when I'm like, no, Alli, shush, shut up, let them finish. And then you can speak. This is a really important lesson because listening really strengthens relationships. People just want to feel heard and to feel seen because it does. It feels really damn nice. We've only got 2 left, guys. We are moving through this very quickly today, but I'm glad because these 2 or the last 2 episodes have definitely been on the heavier side. So I definitely want to bring back the funniness to So Alli. We have a lot of sort of spicy episodes coming up, some absolutely hilarious ones. So just letting you guys know that. So stick around. I think they're all going to be heavy like this. But I think this is an important one to get off our chest because navigating your 20s and 30s are really hard. So I'm just here to help in any way that I can. And doing these episodes have definitely helped me also. Lots of self-reflection going on. Number 19 and the second last is find what lights you up because it's the best feeling in the world. You will know it's right for you when you feel it in your whole body, even if your brain is telling you that you're too scared. Instinct over everything. Instinct, instinct, instinct. When you find what lights you up in life, you stop chasing the things that dim your light and dim you down and things that are bad for you. In this phase of life, you definitely try on a lot of versions of yourself. But going through those phases is how you find what genuinely lights you up. It's all a game of trial and error, babes. You're not going to find what genuinely lights you up in life without giving it a go. So if you haven't already and you're thinking about trying something, give it a go because if you never try, you never know. Fall in love with finding what lights you up and brings you joy. But these things are probably going to change over different chapters of your life. What you're focused on, what your values are, what you're interested in. And I think when something new comes up, you got to give yourself permission to explore it. Get into the habit of doing literally anything that brings you the slightest bit of joy or gives you the slightest bit of interest because I guarantee it'll be so rewarding. Okay, wow. We have finally made it to our very last lesson of the 20 things I've learned in my 20s. And I've saved the best and the most simple for last, and that is no one is you, and that is your superpower. Know you're enough and love your goddamn self. If you start to move through life with that mindset, you're going to be just fine. I swear. I don't even need to go into this one too much or explain too much because it is what it is. There is only one you in the whole world. And how fucking amazing is that? Being unapologetically yourself completely frees you from the pressure of perfection, comparison, or people pleasing. And these are all lessons that we've run through over these last 2 episodes. Remember, you are enough, always have been, always will be. If you love yourself first, everything else in life will follow. Just trust me. And oh my God, I can't believe I'm saying that is a wrap on my part 2 of 20 things I've learned in my 20s. I really hope you loved it, guys. I know it was a lot of information and a lot to take on, but we've just got to help each other through this shit because it is hard. But I know we got each other's backs. Together, we will get through our 20s and make the most of our 20s because we cannot wish any time away. But we'll get through the hard parts of the 20s and live and love through the best parts and move into the beautiful decade that will be our 30s. So I will see you next Thursday, babes. Like I said before, the episodes are going to get a little juicy and spicy from here on out. Less of the heavier stuff, some more fun, maybe not GPG rated stuff. So I'm really excited for that. Again, if you liked what you heard, send this to anyone that you think might need to hear any of these lessons because that would mean so much to me. And don't forget to follow at So Alli Podcast on Instagram. All my updates and videos and everything will be on there. All my podcast links are on there. Thank you guys so much for spending a little bit of your day and or night with me. It means the world to me, and I cannot wait for more episodes to come on So Alli. So until next time, keep reminding yourself that you are enough, always have been, always will be. Bye.